Now, if you use YouTube or social media platforms, you may have noticed one lady popping up a lot because that's exactly how I came across her. She talks about everything from boosting your confidence to creating better relationships. Her name is Marisa Peer, and she's the author of Tell Yourself a Better Lie. And she does this by using the power of rapid transformational therapy, also known as RTT, to edit your story and rewrite your life. Her clients include some of the biggest movie stars, celebrities, even royalty. And I want to say a very big warm welcome to Marisa Peer. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. It's lovely to be here.
You know, I posted your video and I said, I'm going to interview Marisa. And I had so many people send me a message saying, oh my goodness, I love this lady. I've been following her. And one lady called Irina, she sent me a message and she said, Marisa is so talented and deeply intuitive. And she said, I was privileged to learn from her in person during a live training in Amsterdam. And I'm now a certified RTT therapist here in Dubai. She says, I'm a big believer in it as I have witnessed it bring out incredible life-changing transformations from panic attacks to anxiety, phobias, addictions, marriage issues. So it's definitely working. So many people are talking about it, but explain to me, I know you've explained it so many times, but what is rapid transformational therapy and how does it actually work?
Well, it's certainly rapid. It's certainly transformational. I got a lot of flack when I called my method rapid transformational therapy. People said, it's not right. You know, you can't put the word rapid in front of therapy. But I always say, but why not? Who said that and what did they know? And why do we believe that therapy must be long? Because therapy is a healing modality. There's many of them, but you would never go to the dentist or the doctor or even a chiropractor and go, well, I'm in so much pain. And I know it's going to be long. And I know we got to build a relationship where I can even begin to hope to change. When I go to a dentist or a doctor or a chiropractor, I trust that they're good. I've seen the letters after their name. I might have heard a recommendation. And I don't have to build a relationship if I'm in pain with a dentist. I just want them to get me out of pain. And having been a therapist my entire adult life, I know that all my clients coming in have the same thing. Can you get me out of pain? Maybe physical pain from migraines. It may be emotional pain, the pain of never finding love or always blushing or never being able to reach your potential. So all clients want to come out of pain fast. And so I wanted to create a technique that was very good, very thorough, very professional, but was quicker, faster. So if someone came to me and said, you know, I've got these chronic headaches and my doctor said they're psychosomatic, or I've got this skin condition and I think it's psychosomatic, or, you know, I've got a fear of planes or trains or bees or stairs or some phobia or fear, I want to get them out of pain immediately. And you can do that because what RTT does so skillfully is you really have three hats. You start off as a detective. If a client comes to me and says, hey, I've had contact dermatitis since I was 16, I've had eczema since I was 12. I suddenly gained a huge amount of weight when I was 13, having been a normal kid. I'm always looking at what happened then. Something must have happened. If someone says to me, you know, I've never been able to be the focus of attention. I've always blushed. I've always bitten my nails. I already know that's not true. First of all, you don't have any teeth when you're born, so you can't bite your nails. No baby blushes when grandmother looks in the crib and goes, oh, he's so cute. And no baby says, I can't bear attention, because all they want is attention. So I'm already looking like at a detective. What's happened? What went on? What's the underlying thing? What lies beneath? We do a lot of what lies beneath the presenting problem, because the presenting problem is often not the problem at all. So RTT, first of all, is like a detective. Let's get some information and track back what happened. And once you have that information, which you can get really quickly, the next step is to start extracting it and removing it, and finally becoming a coder, coding in some new and better beliefs. And if you do all of that at the same time in the same session, you can take clients out of pain really fast, but code in, install in, and wire in much better beliefs. So here's a classic one. My dad left. I didn't have a dad, therefore I'm not lovable. Is that true? Of course not. It's a belief. And we want to change limiting beliefs and put in incredible beliefs that make you feel amazing, pretty much all the time.
It's interesting because you just said something which is very similar to Byron Katie, because I studied metaphysics and it was part of our exercise where she said you have a belief or you say something to yourself. You say, is it true? Is it absolutely true? And there was another line, and then it's, what would it be without that belief? What would you believe? And it's true. When I did that exercise, it was like we hang on to things for 10, 20 years that may have been said to us when we were children. Now, when you're talking about extracting it during RTT, how do you extract it compared to a normal therapist sitting on the sofa with you for several years trying to deal with an issue? How come it's rapid?
Well, let's give you an example. I mean, I love Byron Katie, and hats off to her for doing that, which is so correct. Is it true? Is it always true? Is it true for you? Was it ever true? You know, women have this message we're told, you're more likely to get abducted by an alien than find love after 50.
Oh, no.
You've got no chance of getting married after 52. Your fertility falls off a cliff when you're 35. Men don't like successful women. So we hear these things and we believe them, but they're not true. I mean, look at Michelle Obama. Do you think Barack doesn't love her because she's successful? But nobody can have it all. You can have it all the time. But if you believe you can't have it all, something's got to give. That affects you because you are what you believe, and your beliefs are yours to change. So how do you extract it? I have to tell you a quick story, but I'll make it very quick. One of my clients said, it's a guy said, I'm so fat. And my daughters came to me and said, Daddy, you must never get out of the car when you come to collect us from an after school thing. We don't want anyone to know how fat you are. You must stay in the car because it's so embarrassing. And they kind of begged him not to ever get out of the car. And he said, you know, hearing that, the sense of shame. And I went straight to the ice cream shop and ate 5 ice creams. Wow. And you'd think the emotion of knowing my daughters are ashamed of me would make me stop eating. But that's the logic. Emotion is stronger than logic. So now we've got to work out why. Why does someone sit in the car eating 5 ice cream cones when he's just heard that message? And so it's always, let's go back. And his story wasn't a big deal, but it was certainly interesting. He was a premature baby whose mother would cry hysterically every time he brought up the milk. And so he had these early imprints. When you have a little child and a very scared or hysterical or frightened parent, it's an imprint. And the imprint he saw every day was mum crying, trying to force food in, becoming hysterical when he brought the food up, and saying things like, he's going to die if he doesn't eat. And as it happened, I just had a friend who had premature twins, and I'd seen that in action. She had monitors in the crib. When they vomited, they both would get up and feed them again and weigh them. And it was these kids have got to gain weight or they'll have to go back into an incubator. And it was very stressful. The monitors, the cameras to monitor these kids, they had to be bigger. So what he heard, you got to be big. And then, of course, he began to gain weight, and the mother stopped being hysterical and became, oh my God, this is great. You're a big boy. Look at you. You're getting so big. And so he formed an interesting belief as a child. I got to eat a lot to please people. And if I'm big, I'm safe. And if I'm small, I might die. Yeah. So now we've got, how do we extract it? Well, that's a lot of looking at this and saying, look, you've been viewing the whole world through the lens of a 5-year-old, a 2-year-old, a 1-year-old. Your mother would say, he's a good eater. He's a big boy. He's so good. Look at him finishing all his meals. And over time, you pick up a message. I'm good. I please people with eating. And the message you got at 5 is a message you're still playing in your head every day. If I don't eat, I might die. But here's the truth. You're going to die from eating as much as you eat. You weigh 300 and something pounds. That's going to make you die. So we get the information as a detective, and then we become almost like an interpreter. Let's interpret why you believe this belief. And so then you remove it by having the client challenge it, rather like Byron Katie. What was true when you're a newborn baby isn't true now. What made sense at 5 doesn't make sense anymore. Before the age of 5, you had no logic, only feelings. But now you have logic and understand that this doesn't work. We're looking at the role, the function, the purpose, the intention of being a compulsive eater, and it's to keep you alive, but actually it's going to kill you. And you don't need it. Your mother isn't here. If she was, your job isn't to please her. Your job is to please your own children now. And so for him, it was an amazing thing to look over and around and through some key themes that had affected him and to let them go. And then the final step, of course, is you must wire that in with an audio. It's what I call the transformational recording. You're not 2 months. Look over those scenes and understand it will never again be relevant or necessary. Won't even be interesting to think the way you thought when you were a child. And so for all clients, it's looking at what happened, and not just what happened, but how what happened affected you and how it's affecting you today when it really shouldn't.
So for somebody who has created this and has all the tools, have there been messages and beliefs that you've carried that you've had to treat yourself for and have overcome?
Oh, yes. Yeah, when I was a kid, I was always late. I missed the bus to school pretty much every day, and it was almost outside my front door. And I was late my entire life. And then I had a bit of an epiphany, if you like. I remembered that little girl who always missed the bus to school and came home feeling really embarrassed. And my father was so angry, but he would get the car out and drive me to school in complete silence. But I never missed the bus coming from school to home. And I realized I did that unconsciously because I needed to feel I mattered to my dad. My dad was a very eminent head teacher, completely invested in other people's kids. And I wanted some of his time. And unconsciously missing the bus meant I had time with him every day. And I somehow thought, well, I must matter because he doesn't make me walk to school. So if children have needs, and they're very simple, I need to feel safe, secure, significant, and loved. And if I miss the bus, I do feel significant. I do feel somehow connected to my dad. But long after that event had passed, I was always late. I missed so many planes and trains and meetings, until I was able to look at, oh, that's why. But that's really outdated stuff. And in that moment, I stopped being late completely. It took everyone I knew about a year to catch up with me. But I understood the behavior had a role. You get a lot of attention when you're late. Walk into this theater late. I'm seeing people turn around and look at you. It's horrible. But the mind isn't logical. It goes, you want attention? I can make you late. I can give you a nervous twitch. I can give you all kinds of allergies. You're going to get a lot of attention. So our mind's job, our mind is always working to make our thoughts real. And all we have to do is think better thoughts. I don't want that negative attention of being late. I want attention for being smart and kind and interesting. And my dad loves me now. He's very proud of me. So I don't need to be late anymore. That's just the behavior of a small kid who didn't know anything better.
Yeah. Matthew McConaughey's mom, Kay McConaughey, she wrote a book many years ago and I actually read it, and it was called I Amaze Myself. And she said every morning she wakes up, she looks in the mirror and she says, I amaze myself. And I remember I was doing that for a few weeks. But what I wanted to know is when you're saying things like this, these affirmations, or like you said, the recordings, but deep down, you don't truly yet believe it or feel it. Are these affirmations a form of faking it till you make it, to the point that you start eventually believing it and your subconscious actually starts feeling it?
Well, you see, your mind doesn't know, and it really doesn't care if what you tell it is good or bad or right or wrong. So if you say things like, I could eat a horse, I've got the appetite of 8 people, I'm the size of a bus, I could lose the eyes in the back of my head if they weren't screwed in. We already know that's clear. Nobody could eat a horse. No one is the size of a bus. No one would lose the eyes in their head. But we say things that aren't true, and the mind doesn't stop and go, come on, you're being ridiculous now. You're not an idiot. You're not so wooden it's an insult to wood. You're being silly. The mind just acts on the words you use. And so when you say, but what if I don't believe it? You don't really believe you could eat a horse, but you say it. You don't really believe that everything you touch falls apart, that every person you meet is going to ghost you because you're worthless. You don't really believe it, but you're saying it. I'm so exhausted. I'm dying under the stress. That's not true. This job is killing me. Well, that's not true. This commute is killing me. We say things that aren't true anyway. And if you're going to tell yourself a lie, at least tell yourself a better lie. So this commute is killing me becomes, wow, I have an hour and a half every day to listen to stuff that's interesting. My boss is driving me crazy because my boss is a challenge to everyone, but hey, I got great skills. If I look at a cake, I gain a pound, can become, I have a phenomenal metabolic rate. I'm always sick becomes, my immune system is incredible, mind-bogglingly amazing. You might as well tell yourself amazing things because they're going to go in anyway. And you don't have to believe them. So switching from I'm always sick to I have the most incredible, phenomenal immune system. You see, your mind has zero choice. It must act on the words you speak.
Yeah.
But you do have a choice. You have a choice every day to speak better words. So when you say things, I'm always sick, it's flu season, it's cold season, it's allergy season, your mind is forced to act on those words. And if you could look into your body and see what negative words do, you would stop. So I never say this, I'm chronically tired. I got a chronic headache. Oh my God, I've gained so much weight. I'm just an out of control hot mess. I just wouldn't allow myself to do that. I might slip up occasionally, but I correct myself very quickly because I understand my mind's job.
Yeah.
And I understand my job is to make my mind's job better. You know, all week in Estonia, I've been teaching young kids of 9 the power of their words. And it's been so amazing. So we made a little triangle for them. And they had to start at the first one and they had to think a thought, it had to be negative. And the thought could be, I'm no good at maths.
Yeah.
I can't friends. And so then they had to run to the next point and write down a feeling on the board. And the feeling could be, well, now I feel sad. I feel frustrated. Now we got to run to the next point and write a behavior. And the behavior was I cry or I get in a really bad temper. So and then they were running point to point and realizing I think a thought, I feel a feeling, I behave in a certain way because I think a thought. And now let's go back and change them and say, I'm great at maths. I make friends easily. Now let's run to a feeling that says, well, I feel good. I feel confident. I feel brave. I feel able to do stuff. So now let's run to a behavior. I ask the teacher for help. I invite friends to hang out with me because I'm thinking a different thought. And so everything starts with a thought. Is it true? Is it real?
Yeah.
Who cares? If you woke up every day and thought, I'm enough, you feel confident, you feel brave, you feel ready to do stuff. And then the actions you take are, I take action. I'm creating a business plan. I'm asking people out. I'm getting a pay rise. But if you wake up and think, I'm not enough, you feel sad, you feel defeated, you might feel angry. And the behaviors are, well, I don't take any action. I never ask people out. I don't have people back to my house. I'm super defensive and actually a bit pissed off. But it all starts with a thought. And your thoughts are yours to change, to upgrade, to update. And whether you believe them or not is irrelevant because a belief is nothing more than a thought you think a lot.
Yeah.
We make our beliefs and then our beliefs turn around and make us. And then we have something called confirmation bias. I'm looking for proof that what I have chosen to believe is real, when it's actually easier to choose to believe something better.
You also bring up a lot, which I kind of think is kind of natural for a lot of human beings, and that feeling of we are not enough, obviously. And you have said you know, with a lot of the celebrities and movie stars you've worked with, they feel this heavily. So the average person is going to feel it. And I'm just thinking, do you feel that's increased more, particularly when you look at something like social media? Before, you know, we might compare ourselves or think what somebody has within our family, community, school, or the 2 or 3 channels we had on TV. But now with social media, we have so much information about other people's lives to compare to coming into our energy field. Do you think this feeling of not enough is a bit of a pandemic, to use that word?
I think it's an epidemic. I mean, in the 80s, when I worked for Jane Fonda teaching aerobics, I saw it then, how many girls in my aerobic class had bulimia, anorexia, body dysmorphia. But now we have orthorexia. We have so many new things, exercise compulsive, because the media compares us all the time. When we begin to feel not enough is when we get compared. Your sister could read by the time she was 4. Your brother never got food on. For your nephew, oh my God, he's so amazing. And we think, oh, I'm not enough. So being compared is always a mistake. But social media, you can go on sites and ask people to rate you. Am I a 0 or a 10? Which is a huge mistake, because never give someone the power to rate you, to tell you what you're worth. But of course, social media overexposes us every day to fake images of perfection. And then we feel dissatisfied with ourselves. So nobody's born feeling not enough. If a baby's born with a wonky grin, or spots all over their face, or maybe they've got a cleft palate, they don't know. They don't know they're not amazing until you tell them. You know, I had a cat that had a missing tail. I had no idea it wasn't perfect and gorgeous. And I loved that little cat so much. And it never knew it was less than. We don't know until people tell us, or we start to read stuff that says to matter, you got to have fat hair and thin thighs. So if I've got fat thighs and thin hair, what does that mean? It means, oh, I'm not enough. I've got to start punishing my body and forcing me to be something else. And of course, in media, social media, everyone is gorgeous. I mean, look at Friends. A waitress is living in Central Park. That's never happened. You can't be a waitress and live on an apartment in Central Park. You always look perfect every day. In stuff like Baywatch, everyone is always perfect. The OC.
And now we have the filters to make you look even better.
Yeah, and all the filters. And we look at the Kardashians and think that's real. It's not real.
No,
it's not real. But social media, there's a lot of things that are good about it, but it's made women especially feel dissatisfied with themselves. It's brought out a new way every week for you to hate your body. I mean, now we have the thigh gap, the bikini bridge. I mean, my grandmother had no idea what designer pubic hair was. She didn't know what a thigh gap was. And our grandmothers had more sex than we did and were happier because they weren't getting weighed every day and having a thin thigh challenge and a A3. Can I fit? Because the A3 challenge means my waist has got to fit in that piece of paper that way, not that way.
Oh my goodness.
That's just a crazy thing we're doing to people. We're trying to make them believe that there is a race to be perfect, that you can never win.
Yeah.
You can't even finish that race, because happiness is an inside job. Liking who you are comes from inside of you. Don't give other people the power to make you feel good or bad. You know, if you wake up every day, like you said, I'm amazed with myself. I know that if you woke up every day and said just 4 things: I matter,
yes,
I'm significant, I'm lovable, and I'm enough, those statements can and will change your life. If you have children, get them to say it. I have so many schools that write to me and say, wow, we've got your RTT challenge. The kids say that every day, and something amazing has happened. They're doing better in school. They're doing better emotionally with friends. They're not competitive. And bullying seems to have completely disappeared in this school.
Amazing.
And I love that. So if we all just said, I'm enough, I matter, I'm significant, I'm lovable just the way I am. Because your lovability has got nothing to do with what the scales say, or the labels in your clothes say, or the number of followers you have. And we're obsessed with all these numbers. How many followers have I got? What do I weigh? How much have I got in my bank? What clothing size am I? And you got to dump all of that, because it's not important.
And I do think if you are posting every single day pictures of yourself, what is it that you're lacking that you need to do this? Do you not have another life? I do get confused. Now, I've had a text come through, another message from Bhavna, and she says, Marisa, my husband was recently laid off work. He's stressed, and I can sense his desperation rising with each unpaid bill. Is there a way RTT can be used in surrogate to relieve another person's stress? He's an introvert and doesn't like talking about his situation. So I think she's trying to find a way of doing it through her to get to him. Is that possible?
Well, if you go to marisapeer.com, we have at least 6 totally free downloads. And one is on love blocks, and one is on money blocks, one is on health blocks, and one is on success blocks. And if you get him those audios and get him to listen to them, it's very likely that his mind will come up with a way of him creating a new job. It's hard as an introvert because they can't go and go, hey, you should employ me. I'm amazing at IT. I'd be such an asset to your company. An introvert goes inside, they don't like to ask for help. They find it very hard to promote themselves, but you've got to get past it. My daughter is an artist, and I said, darling, I'm thrilled you're an artist, but here's the deal. You got to walk into galleries every day with your iPad and go, here's my paintings. I know that you don't want to, I know that you hate the thought of that, but you're an artist and you're good. But if you want to be a successful artist, you must do the things that you hate to do. Sure. Because people who make it do what they hate. They go, hey, here's my art. Hey, here's my number. Hey, I can do this better than anyone else on the planet. And when she got her first exhibition and she sold 2/3 of all her work, she goes, Mum, it's the best day of my life. I said, but it wouldn't have happened if you hadn't gone to that person and said, hey, I got some great art. You should show it. But it's hard to do what we hate. We have to make ourselves do what we hate. We have to believe that, of course, you must promote yourself. So your husband had a job, he got laid off, but he's got to realize that he can find another job because he's got a skill set. He's probably unique, but the hardest thing can be saying, hey, could you employ me? Could you date me? Could you befriend me? Why is that? Because we have a belief rejection will kill me. Well, it might have done years ago if you lived in a fort or a walled city and people kicked you out. But nowadays, rejection doesn't kill you. If anything, it makes you stronger. There are many people who've been rejected, dumped, fired, humiliated. And yet here they are, bigger than ever. The people who were laughed off Dragon's Den and Shark Tank who came back. Yeah. Ed Sheeran was told you can't ever be a pop star because you've got white skin and glasses and red hair. Eminem was told you will never be a rapper. You're a blonde-haired guy with blue eyes. And he said, that made me so angry. I put the anger into my rapping and I became the most successful rap star for a while. Yeah. Naomi Campbell was told black girls will never get on the cover of Vogue. That door is shut. She went, shut, I'll kick that open. And I love that in her because people who are successful do not take no for an answer. They hear no and they go, that's not a denial, it's a delay. What I'm hearing is no, not now, not at the moment, come back later. My first book was rejected many, many times. I remember that thud of hearing the manuscript land on the carpet going, oh, not again. But I had to just send it back until someone said, I love this book and gave me a huge deal. Now I've written 7 best-selling books, but that doesn't mean I haven't had stuff rejected, laughed at, or this is no good. Who are you? Who do you think you are to come up with a book? It's not good. That's their choice.
I do love that. It's not a denial, it's a delay. That's such a great line.
Yeah. And it's always good to reframe stuff, that's you don't like my book, but that's one opinion. I can go and get another opinion. So while you can choose to not like me or what I do, I also have a choice here. I can choose to not let it in. And I can promise you not letting in destructive criticism will change your entire life. Because even when you make it, you and I know that when you're in the pub, people write, I hate you. I hate that color. I hate that hat. Yeah. Who do you think? I can't stand your voice. And you think, well, okay, that's your opinion. It's not my opinion. And even if your opinion is harsh and hurtful and mean and horrible, I can go, well, that's an unhappy person because only inferior people get joy from criticizing others. So I can think, oh, what a shame you're unhappy. I don't have to let that in.
Yeah, there's one line that there's one line I live by, and that's by Dr. Wayne Dyer. And he says, what anybody thinks of me is none of my business. And I do love that line. I just want to finalize this, end this interview and ask you, what is it that you do every day to start your day? I know you gave us those 4 lines that you say we should say to ourselves, I matter. But is there any little ritual you can teach us that we can all take away?
So when I wake up, the first thing I do is go, I love my life. I wake up and I go, oh, I love my life. I love my sheets. I love my shower gel. I love my first cup of tea. I love the fact I'm waking up in Norway or Finland or Estonia, or next week I'm going to Germany and then I'm going to Switzerland, then I'm going to New York, then I'm going back to LA. And I never go, oh God, where? I go, I love it. It's so exciting. So it is my choice to go, oh my God, where am I today? I don't even know where the bathroom is. This is so much traveling. It's very easy to be negative. But if the first thing you say is, I love my life, that's a great message. And then if you go, wow, this tea is sensational, or this coffee, you're teaching your mind to get real happy from little things. And when you can get such happiness from little things, like I think, oh, I can't wait to have a shower because I love my products. I love putting on
I know
serum. I love deciding what to wear, but I'm training my mind to find pleasure in the tiniest thing.
Yeah.
Look at the flower. I love this smell. Now, big things, it's just like Christmas Day. So the first thing I do is focus on, I love my life. I'm happy. I wake up and think, oh, I love this view. I love this. I love something. There's always something to love, because you see in life, whatever you focus on, you get more. So I'm so tired. I've got jet lag. I'm exhausted. I'm traveling around the world, but I tell myself, I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. When I go on stage, I say, I love it. I practice gratitude. And then I don't look at them and go, oh my God, look at the state of me. I don't do that. I say, you're a nice person doing good things in the world. So I would say I practice gratitude and I praise myself a lot, not because I'm big-headed, because I know it's the one thing that is guaranteed to grow your self-esteem. You know, as a parent, your job is to grow kids with high self-esteem. Our job is to have high self-esteem. That means what you think of you. And there is nothing that will raise your self-esteem faster than praising yourself. But, you know, just saying this, I'm a good person. I got a good heart. I'm nice to people.
Yeah.
I talk to my friends. I help. It doesn't have to be something amazing. I was really nice to the cashier. I held the door open for someone. I'm a nice person. Praise yourself as a parent. I'd also say to my little girl every day, what did you do today that was amazing? She go, nothing. I said, nothing. She go, I lent some of my crayons. I go, that's good. Every night when she went to bed, I'd make her say one nice thing about her, because I wanted to build her self-esteem. But it was important that she said it, not me. And if you're a parent, get into saying to your kids, what's great about you? And they say, I like writing songs. I love coloring. It doesn't matter what it is. Get into the excellent habit of building your own self-esteem with praise. Not, I'm great me. I'm a good person. I'm really good at my job. I'm great. I spend a lot of time with my grandmother. Whatever you want to say it. Start your day with a bit of praise. I often go on stage with that song by Fat Boy Slim. I need to praise you like I do. Or there's another song I love by, says, take the Mary J. Blige, take the shackles off your feet. I just praise you. I just wake up to that song, put it on your alarm clock or your phone as an alert to remind you, oh, I need to praise myself at 8 o'clock every morning and 8 o'clock every night. These little simple hacks would change your entire life. They really work. Their simplicity is out of all proportion to the impact they have on you.
All right. Well, Marisa, I have loved this interview. I am so grateful for your time. And I'm going to start using some of these words and remind everybody again of the book that you've just released.
Tell yourself a better lie. And in fact, we're coming to Dubai soon. We're going to bring our PT training. We're taking it to Australia in November, to Sydney and Brisbane. And we are looking really hard now at bringing our tea tree training to Dubai. So we're looking for some promoters to work with, and we're really keen to take our amazing training to the Middle East because it makes people feel so good.
I know so many people queue up for this after all the messages I got. So I think we need to stay in touch. We'll help you and we'll get you back in the studio once you are here in Dubai.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Marisa. Thank you.
Thank you.